This is the Inferno Demonlord, one of the hardest bosses in all of Skyblock, and I got 2 billion coins from killing it over 1,000 times, and here's how I did it. Recently, I spent a week killing Infernal Kudra to get Infernal Crimson Armor, the most powerful armor in all of Skyblock. But armor was just one of the many things I would need to fight the Inferno Demonlord. What armor I use wouldn't matter if I'm using a terrible weapon. The weapons I have to use are the Blaze Slayer daggers because the boss has an ability called the Hellion Shield, which switches between Spirit, Ashen, Crystal, and Auric, and only these two swords have the ability to break through the shield. The only problem is these swords cost nearly 1 billion coins each, and I couldn't afford to get both of them, so I had to decide on one of them. Both swords have 3 tiers, the first being the Twilight and Fire Dust daggers, the second being the Maudredge and Kindlebane daggers, and lastly the Death Ripper and Pyro Chaos daggers. I already had the Maudredge and Kindlebane daggers, but could only afford to upgrade one of them to the final tier, so I had to make a decision. The pros of the Death Ripper dagger are that it does a lot more damage to blazes, which means spawning the boss will be a lot faster. But the Pyro Chaos dagger has the Burning Vengeance ability, which repeats all damage you do for 6 seconds, which would make the boss fight much faster. In the end, I went with the Death Ripper dagger because I was spending a lot of time trying to spawn the boss, so overall it would be the best time saver. The next thing I need is a set of Vanquished gear. This set has a secret bonus which gives a 10% damage increase to all mobs in the Crimson Isle, as well as a 10% damage reduction from all mobs, which will be super helpful when fighting the boss. I specifically wanted to get pieces with the Veteran and Vitality attributes. Veteran gives combat wisdom, which increases the amount of XP you get from killing mobs, which will speed up spawning the boss. And Vitality increases how much you heal, so that'll help with survivability. After buying a set and upgrading the attributes with the shards I got from Kudra, it was ready to go, albeit with pretty bald attributes. Speaking of attributes, I also had to change the ones on my Crimson. In the last video I said that I bought a set with Dominance and Veteran attributes because Veteran Vitality pieces are way more expensive and I didn't care enough to spend an extra 90 mil. I ended up changing my mind as Dominance isn't needed during the fight, and I ended up getting Veteran and Vitality for my chestplate and leggings and Magic Find and Vitality for my boots, but I'll explain why I didn't get Veteran on my boots later. After that, I got 2 more things, the Ragnarok Axe and an Endstone Sword, which are helpful support items that'll come in handy during the fight. Now that I've gathered all my gear, it was time to go to the Smoldering Tomb and take on the Inferno Demonlord. In the first phase of the fight, nothing that difficult is going on. All I have to do is be using the right attunements in order to damage the boss through his Hellion Shield. The only active ability right now is the boss's passive, Immolate, which deals 20% of my max health as true damage per second, but my natural regen as well as enchantments like Siphon are more than enough to counteract this damage. After reaching 100 million health, the Demon Split activates, with the boss turning into 2 mini-bosses, Quasi and Typhoeus. These guys have their own abilities, but you can just ignore them by standing on a 2-block tall ledge to avoid Typhoeus' fire and also Quasi's beam. Both mini-bosses have the Hellion Shield ability, so they can be kind of annoying, but they're more of a time waster than an actual threat. After killing them both, the Demonlord spawns back in at 100 million health, and now there's 30% of my health as true damage instead of just 20%, which is where the Endstone Sword ability comes in. It grants a 50% damage reduction, which makes it easier to tank until the Wraith Drain ability for my Death Ripper dagger can activate again. During this phase, the boss also activates Fire Pillars. These spawn as small balls of fire above the boss's head, and then he throws them in a random direction and they spawn a pillar. The pillar has a 7-second cooldown, and after it ends, the pillar explodes and instantly kills you. The only way to break the pillars is by using a Wisp Pet, but because it's significantly easier to just use a Withercloak sword, most people do that. After the boss hits 50 million health, Demon Split activates one more time. After killing Typhoeus and Quasi one more time, the boss enters his final phase, where he now does 50% of my health as true damage per second. There are ways you can spam healing items to survive this, but I usually just switch to Sorrow Armor for the extra true defense, and on top of that I get some more Magic Find. The boss also spawns Fire Pits during this phase, which basically insta-kill you but are pretty easy to avoid by just walking backwards. The Fire Pits combined with the Fire Pillars can be annoying to deal with, but I managed to do just fine and killed the boss. And then I killed the boss again, and again and again, and again, and again and again. Do you see why this video took me 2 weeks to do? The main issue I was having with this boss was the lag. Unless you're a crazy person and do your bosses in the Crystal Hollows, you have to spawn the boss in the Crimson Isle, but the servers are notorious for having terrible TPS. It's not that big of a deal, but it was annoying for the first day or 2 of the boss, and it slowed things down a bit. On top of that, I for some reason kept getting people like this. What is bro doing? Why is Blaze Slayer like this? What is wrong with you, man? What the frick you doing, bro? Frick you. Frick this guy, bro. Frick this goon. Guy's actually such a... You don't know. I wouldn't even call him a goon. Being a goon is a compliment in this guy's eyes. This bro is sent straight from the underworld to torment people who try to just play the game for fun. Unfortunately, both of these issues were things that I couldn't control, so instead I just decided to try and perfect my boss strategy. Right when the boss spawns, I place an Overflux for the extra vitality and then just hit the boss. When Demon Split activates, I use my Ragnarok Axe for the strength buff so I can kill the demons faster. I also have to be precise with my CPS, because even though Typhus is invincible when I'm hitting Quasi, the Burning Vengeance ability still activates. So if I take Quasi's shield down fast enough, Typhus will die without me having to hit him again, which speeds up the boss a lot. Right after the boss spawns back in, I use my Endstone Sword for the damage reduction and keep an eye on the fire pillar he spawns. The second demon split, I don't use my Ragnarok Axe, mainly because I'll be out of mana from using my Wither Cloak, but also because Typhus is first in this rotation. The goal is to one-phase him with Burning Vengeance, so my damage doesn't matter as much as it does with Quasi. Once Quasi is almost dead, I switch to Sorrow, kill him, and use my Endstone Sword. While hitting the boss, I have to make sure to be constantly moving, otherwise I'll get stuck in a fire pit and die. Because I spent time getting Infernal Crimson though, I usually kill the boss before the fire pillar from this phase can explode. This is why I have Magic Find on my boots instead of Veteran. I need to keep at least one piece of Crimson on to kill the boss before the fire pillar explodes, and because Sorrow already gives Magic Find, I just decided to go with Magic Find on my boots. Something like Magic Find and Veteran would be better, but it's also 300 million coins per piece, so I decided to just not buy it. Not to mention, I can't tank the boss's final phase in Crimson, so I wouldn't be wearing half of it anyways. In total, I made about 1.5 billion coins, half of which came from Duplex and Gabagool Distillate. I got above average Duplex drop rates because I selected it on my RNG meter as it's one of the biggest moneymakers for this Slayer. Unlike other Slayers, the Inferno Demonlord doesn't really have one big drop that people go for. Slayers like Enderman have the Judgment Core, or Zombie Slayer with the Warden Heart, but Blaze Slayer just has a ton of books and gambling products. I love to gamble. I love to gamble. I hate gambling, frick this! In total, I got 44 Duplex books, worth around 528 million, and 1,400 Gabagool Distillate, worth around 280 million. All the other random drops like Scorched Crystals, Scorched Books, and Archfiend Dice and other Distillate added up to another 500 million. Finally, I dropped 4 high-class Archfiend Dice, which are about 60 million coins each. I also got 2 Wilson's Engineering Plans, but they suck and nobody buys them, so they're worth nothing. The reason no one needs these is because they're used to make the SOS Flare, which is a good item, but it needs an Inferno Apex to craft. An Apex has a raw crafting cost of over 3 billion coins, or it can be dropped from Inferno minions with a 1 in 1.5 million drop rate. Because the main focus of crafting the SOS Flare is the Apex instead of the Engineering Plan, it kinda drops off in price. The only other good drop is the high-class Archfiend Dice, because most Skyblock players are just gambling addicts. They already have a decent 60 million coin price, but they'd actually be more expensive, but they're secretly rigged and have a 1 in 16 chance of rolling a 6 instead of just a 1 in 6 chance. In the end, I was getting about 1.4 million per boss on average, and at 2 minutes and 20 seconds per boss, including the spawn time, that would be about 22 million coins an hour. This is a low estimate though, as boss times can vary a lot depending on if you get good mini-boss luck, so I'd say that Blaze Slayer is comparable to gemstone mining in terms of money per hour. That's about it though. Leave a dislike, this video sucked, leave a hate comment, unsubscribe, subscribe to Mash Clash instead, he's probably better to be honest. No, never mind, that's not true at all. Okay, goodbye.